We'll call this meeting of the Craven County Board of Commissioners regular session for Monday, September 16th, 2024 to order. Madam Clerk, if you will, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hunt?
Here.
Commissioner Mark?
Here.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Here.
Commissioner Smith?
Here.
Commissioner Howard?
Here.
Vice Chairman Booker?
Here.
Chairman Jones?
Here. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you, if you would, to let's stand together as our County Attorney, Mr. Eric Grady, will lead us in prayer. After the prayer, I ask you to remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance to the American flag.
Lord, your word tells us that you give strength to the weary and you increase the power of the weak. You are our place to go when we are empty and our second wind when we are worn down. How do you restore the weary warrior? If we wait on you, you will refill us. If we look to you, you will guide us. If we listen to you, you will lead us. You make broken wings soar and weak legs sprint. King David often calls you a fortress. You are a place of rest and peace no matter what comes to our gates. Strengthen us today, God, as we acknowledge you, and be our fortress of peace when we run to you. We proclaim these things in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning and welcome to each of you that's here in the room and to those that may be viewing online. We welcome you. I would ask that each of us here that are in attendance would make sure our phones are on silent so it wouldn't disrupt the meeting. We would appreciate it. Commissioners, you have before you your agenda packets. Are there any agenda items you desire to pull or add today?
Make a motion to approve the agenda as is.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Is any discussion on the motion? Hear none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Next is the consent agenda. You have on the consent agenda the minutes of the September 3rd, 2024 regular session, tax releases and refunds, economic development, the request for a public hearing, also elections, the budget amendment. Are there any consent agenda items you desire to pull?
So moved.
Hearing none, we have a motion to accept the consent agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, if you will, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hunt?
Yes.
Commissioner Mark?
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Booker?
Yes.
Chairman Jones?
Yes, thank you. Commissioners, this morning we have a number of departments that are going to present to us. The first under item 2 is our health department. We're honored to have with us Ms. Scott Harrelson, our health director, to discuss a budget amendment. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Yes, as Commissioner Jones has mentioned, we had some additional funding come in from the Health Resources Service Administration. We refer to as HRSA, and this is the funding source for our Federally Qualified Health Center. They actually sent some COVID bridge access funding in the amount of $24,603. We feel like we have enough supply based on demand of the actual vaccine, but with these monies we are actually able to purchase lab supplies and medical supplies. So we would like to utilize $18,000 of this towards lab supplies, $6,603 towards medical supplies.
Okay, Commissioners, you have any questions for Mr. Harrelson?
Move to approve.
All right, we have a
Second.
motion and a second to approve the budget amendment in the amount of $24,603. Any further discussion on the motion? Hear none, Madam Clerk, if you will, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hunt?
Yes.
Commissioner Mark?
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Booker?
Yes.
And Chairman Jones?
Yes. Thank you, Scott. Hope you have a
Always.
good day.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you, sir. Item 3 is carts. We have Ms. Kelly Walker-Cutho, our carts director, to discuss the 2024-2025 Rural Operating Assistance Program.
Mr. Chairman, Ms. Walker got delayed at the office. She's en route. You can either delay this item to after number 7, or I can handle it here if you like. Gene and I can
Are you prepared to handle it?
do as best as I can. If not, we can always wait for her to get
Any
here.
objection from the board to allow the county manager? All right, go forward.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, this is the Rural Operating Assistance Program, better known as ROPE. It's the state-funded transportation grant from DOT Integrated Mobility Division. ROPE consolidates the Elderly and Disabled Assistance Program, better known as EdTAP, for all areas of Craven County, the Employment Transportation Program, EMP, for all areas of the county, and the Rural General Public, RGP, for the rural areas of the county into one application. Each county within the CART service area is responsible for making a ROPE application for its respective county, and those other ones would be Jones and Pamlico. On September 4th, 2024, CARTS was notified that Craven County has been allocated $98,996 for EdTAP, $23,285 for EMP, and $114,559 for RGP. The total 2025 allocation is $236,840. There is no public hearing required. In addition to submitting the application, a certified statement signed by the county manager and finance director is required, and that will be due by October 4th, 2024. In your packets, a copy of the application for operating assistance and the certified statement. We're asking you to authorize staff to receive the application for the 2024-2025 ROPE grant.
All right, Commissioners, you have any questions for the county manager or the finance director concerning this? Hearing none, do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion and a second to authorize staff to proceed with the application process for the ROPE grant. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passed. Thank you, Jack.
Yes, sir.
All right, item 4, we have the Soil Conservation Emergency Watershed Protection Program. Mr. Brody Brown, good morning, sir.
So after Hurricane Florence, Craven County received $4 million through the Emergency Watershed Protection Program to perform shoreline recovery measures along the Neuse River, such as installing geotechnical fabric materials with field cover and vegetation. These funds were provided through the United States Department of Agricultural Natural Resources Conservation Service, which is NRCS. We performed these measures on 43 sites along the Neuse River with great success. After finalizing all expenditures, it has been determined that the project has funds remaining to complete repairs on one last remaining qualifying site. The final qualifying site is located at 7145 Highway 55, Cove City. During Hurricane Florence, this site received substantial erosion damage from the floodwaters of the Core Creek that threatened the septic system and structure. Recovery measures that will be used for this site will be installed marine-grade sheet piles to a height of 4 feet above the Core Creek water level, and to stabilize the bank at a 2-to-1 grade ratio to prevent erosion, which will protect the septic system and structure from future erosion damages. This site repair will be performed at a no cost to the county or the homeowner. Will be 100% grant funds, and the funds are from the remaining state fund share. On September 5th, a request for bid was sent out to 7 interested contractors, notifying them of the project scope. A non-mandatory site visit meeting on September 9th, and requesting them to submit a bid on the project by September 12th. We received bids from 3 companies, and staff recommends awarding the contract to Bobby Cahoon Construction in the amount of $61,275.
Okay, Commissioners, you have any questions for Mr. Brown or Mr.
If you don't mind, I'll go
Yep.
into the PowerPoint.
Okay, go right ahead, sir.
On this first slide, this is just a map to show in relation to the county where the project is located. You can see that it is in the western portion of the county. This next slide, this is example photos of the proposed sheet pile flood wall, which will be 4 foot high and 80 foot long. We'll move on to the next.
If you would, hold on one second. If you'll go back to that prior slide right there. Commissioners, the slide right in the middle at the top is the area in which they will do this work at. For those of you that know where James W. Smith School is, that road is Highway 55. The road there is Coonstown Road, which goes over to James Smith School. And so the creek runs right beside that property. So just to give them an idea of where it's at. Thank you. Didn't mean to interrupt you.
So the next slide, this is a more detailed view. If you'll notice the dark line at the bottom of the map there, that is the actual run of the creek. The contour lines are the fall from the eroded edge. The sheet pile was recommended for this project because if you notice the dark line at the bottom there, that is the bend of the creek. So when you have a lot of floodwaters coming down the creek, it creates an eddy in that bend, which caused the erosion to this gentleman's property. Looking at the contour lines, at the top of the bank, we're at about 26 foot, and at the bottom of the bank, water's edge is about 6 foot, so there's about 20 foot of fall there. And moving on to the next slide. One more thing that U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, that the proposed wall, the base of the wall will be 2 foot above the 404 delineated wetlands by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. The last slide there, that is just the detailed components of the sheet pile flood wall. So.
Okay. At this point, Commissioners, you have any further questions?
It did say it was going to cost the county no money.
To the county, no, sir.
I'm for it.
Okay. So the request today is we're awarding the contract to Bobby Cahoon Construction. Is there any other items that need to be included in the motion, County Manager? Okay. Commissioners, if you have no further questions, do we have a motion?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to award this contract to Bobby Cahoon Construction. Any further discussion on the motion? The only thing I'll say is I want to thank the team for going out, and they had some unspent funds, and this was a dire need right here for this family, and so thank you for going out and trying to assist them. I appreciate that. All right, here no further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Thank you, Brady. All right, item 5 is planning. We have with us Mr. Chad Strong, our planning director. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Before we request the rollover budget amendment, I was wanting to go through some pictures here of the dilapidated mobile home park over in Bridgeton. So some of the first pictures you're going to see is after we did a cleanup in the park. You can see some of the construction equipment on the right where we removed some dilapidated mobile homes. Next slide. So this whole area right here was full of just household debris, some vegetative debris. This was cleaned up, looking good here. Next slide, please. Just another area in which we removed some dilapidated homes and cleaned the lots here within Sandy Ridge Mobile Home Park. Yes, sir, next slide. I don't know if you guys remember from when we presented this to get the original budget amendment, but it was in really bad shape. There was a lot. There was like 24 dilapidated mobile homes that we removed from the site there. Next slide. So as you can see, the contractor regraded out some lots, got a lot of the vegetative debris and normal trash that was in the park, so it was looking pretty good. Next slide, please. So just a continuation of how it looked back in March when we did the original cleanup. Next slide. So, saying we removed a home from this site, so got the lots looking really good. And that was one of the worst areas and right there beside the trash receptacle, there was trash strewn all over the park in that back corner there. Next slide. We got all that trash picked up. Next slide, please. And so this is, we did a site visit. Jason and Commissioner Mark went out to the site on September the 5th. And this is what we observed. We've seen where the vegetative debris has, got a lot of vegetative debris on the site. The lots are starting to grow in. Next slide. Just unfortunately, the park management is not keeping up the park. Next slide.
What a surprise.
Yeah, so that's the way it was last week. Next slide. So I guess you're getting the generalization. So basically today we want to move in. There's 3 additional mobile home units that need to be removed from the site, including removing the vegetative debris. And excuse me just a second. In November 2023, the Board of Commissioners approved $200,000 to remove dilapidated units and clean up debris, in which was spent $174,633. So at this point in time, we request the Board of Commissioners to approve a rollover budget amendment for $25,367.
Okay, Chad, thank you. Commissioner Martin, you want to make a few comments?
I was out there, as he said, with Jason, and there were more than three, but three that were really bad. And those are the three we're asking to remove, and I think probably this will be the end of it. There was also a huge hole in the road inside, and I informed one of the people that was yelling that we were not going to fill that hole, that they're going to have to take care of it themselves. And the other part is that this gentleman is, I think this will be past January 6th, he will be behind 3 years on his taxes. We usually go after them after 2 years, so I think that the tax department better get busy and see what we can do. Although this gentleman, he hides. He takes off to different parts of the world, and you have to send a sheriff looking for him. And we had luck once. We hope we have luck this time. That's all.
All right, any other comments, questions?
Mr. Chairman, just point of reference. You did have savings in the project, which allows us to do this, but this $25,000 will become a lien on the property, just like the remaining, the first project that Chad mentioned. We are up to 27 units in there that vacant, dilapidated structures that have been removed. Chad, if you had to estimate how many units are still remaining, just
We're going to try to remove 3.
3, but how many would be after those 3? How many would be left?
Go to the map if you don't mind.
That's 16.
I hate to belabor it. I just want the commissioners to understand that there's still.
We got a picture of one of those units right there.
Yeah, I just want them to. I want them to understand what's the scope of
How
the
many
units
will be
remaining.
left? How many trailers will be left?
There you go.
There we go.
Okay, thank you.
Keep hitting that. There's some X's up there that'll mark out. So those are the 3 that we're proposing to remove with this remaining rollover budget amendment.
Green will still be there after this.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
But of those, there's some purple. You see the purple ones? Depending on the ownership situation and also the tenants, those could be dilapidated in the future. It kind of varies just based on the renters that would be in those units. But do you agree with that, Jason?
Yeah, what you're seeing out there is, when we remove a unit, the people that are out there occupying those units illegally will find another unit, go in that unit, live in it, burn it, and then so on and so forth. So it's kind of creating another issue.
So at this point in time, we'd just like to remove the 3 units and clean up the debris.
All right, Commissioner Mark, are you making a motion to
Yes,
approve the
I am.
budget amendment in amount of $25,367? Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, Mitchell and Hunt both seconded, so you need to choose. Any discussion? Only question I have, where we've cleaned up the lots prior, we see the vegetation that's grown up. Underneath that, is it clear? I mean, is it to where somebody could go in there and put a mower in, or is there a lot of debris under that?
Well, you got to look out for the capping of the septic systems and the water lines. So those will have to go out there and be marked before we actually do the bush hogging, if we were be in a situation to go out and do the bush hogging. But the solid debris is the most important at this point because it's becoming a health issue.
Each lot has its own septic tank,
Some of them are shared.
okay.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of septic tanks in that property.
That's correct, yes, sir.
What is the population estimate of it? Do you guys have any idea?
Oh, with the remaining units out there, I would
Number of
say
squatters,
about
they just-
three people per unit, so 70 people, 75 people.
Do we have any idea how many are actual leaseholders?
Well, we looked in that one time. The actual owner themselves own some of them, and then some of them are private ownership. So we could get that number for you.
Be hard to know.
Yeah.
There's not good, I mean, there's no paperwork right now.
Right.
I mean, just for the record, no one's paying rent, no one's collecting rent. From our understanding on the street, you got just a bad situation.
All right, any further discussion? All right, here none, we do have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, if you will, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hunt?
Yes.
Commissioner Mark?
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Cooker?
Do it occasionally, and they glare at you when you drive in there.
Denny,
Happy to see you.
I think they called your name.
Yeah, yes.
Chairman Jones?
Yes. All right, Chad, Jason, thank y'all, appreciate what you do. All right, item 6 today, we have economic development, Mr. Jeff Wood. Good morning, sir.
Morning, Commissioners. This morning I bring responses from an RFP that we have to put water, sewer, and road into Lot 9 and 10. We had 2 bidders. The lowest bidder was Barnhill Construction at $960,000, $960,076. That is $35,513 under the engineering estimate. This will be funded through the state appropriated grant that we received that I put in earlier this year.
Okay,
Any questions?
any questions for Mr. Wood?
Move to approve.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the contract to Barnhill Construction and then to approve the construction contract. Any further discussion on the motion? Hear none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passed. Thank you, Jeff. Item 7, this morning we have solid waste, the interlocal trash sticker franchise agreement with the town of Bridgeton. Mr. Stephen Astor, good morning.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning, Board. Have item here for you this morning for your consideration is the interlocal trash sticker franchise agreement with the town of Bridgeton and Craven County and GFL. So currently, Craven County has interlocal agreements with the town of Trent Woods and the town of River Bend, allowing those towns to participate in the Craven County Solid Waste Franchise Agreement with the contractor Waste Industries doing business as GFL Incorporated. These interlocal agreements have been in place since the early 90s. Recently, the town of Bridgeton has expressed their interest to join our agreement. The Craven County attorney, Mr. Airy, and the town of Bridgeton attorney have prepared the interlocal agreement, solid waste agreement, providing the following document for your consideration. This interlocal agreement would allow the town of Bridgeton to participate in the curbside program as part of the solid waste franchise agreement. This agreement does not pertain to the curbside collection of recycling in the town limits of Bridgeton. At this time, the Craven County Solid Waste Department requests the Craven County Board of Commissioners to approve the agreement attached to this, to approve the agreement and authorize the chairman of the board to execute the interlocal agreement and the third amendment to the solid waste franchise agreement, both of which are provided, which will allow the town of Bridgeton to join the Craven County Solid Waste franchise agreement, and staff are here for any questions.
All right, Commissioner Mark, this is in your district. We'll go to you first.
Well, before I approve anything, I'd like to hear from them as to what they're going to do in the way of picking up garbage.
Them being GFL? Yes, sir. We are fortunate today to this morning to have Norma and Chris, the general manager here in GFL local branch, and Norma, the government contracts for the GFL here. So I will defer to those.
Okay.
Good morning, Miss Norma.
Good morning, everyone. How's everyone this beautiful
All right.
rainy morning?
I reckon just before you begin, Commissioner Mark definitely has expressed concern as other commissioners have, and thank y'all again for being here to be present for this, but also the ongoing concern that I think all of our districts have about timely pickup. And so, not trying to get you on the spot this morning, but if you don't mind addressing.
Well, that's okay. We have understood it in the past few months that there has been a problem. Our regional vice president actually got into the picture. Not that he wasn't in the picture before, but became very dedicated to the problem here about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Currently, we are fully staffed. Currently, we have 13 trucks went out this morning. We needed 13 trucks. We had 1 spare on the yard. We've got another spare that will be coming back into service probably within the next 2 or 3 weeks. It was waiting warranty service, and then we have a 3rd spare probably within the next 6 weeks. So.
So in what you're telling us, you foresee that the situation is going to get better?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And during the bad times too, just so you'll know, we did run double shifts. I mean, you might have heard from some of your constituents that we were out late at night. We were running double shifts with 2 drivers, you know, to make sure that we could to pick up as much as we could. You know, when the first driver came in and ran his hours, we had a second driver go back and get on the truck, and they were running late into the night picking up at least recyclables. So,
Commissioner, what you're saying is great if it's done. I mean, we've had no problems prior to the last 6 months with you people as far as picking up the garbage. But I'll give you one instance. Last week, the garbage wasn't picked up on a Monday. In fact, it hasn't been picked up on a Monday at least 8 or 9 times. And you run the garbage down there on a Sunday night and nobody comes in Monday. But last week, they didn't come in Monday. They came in Tuesday for the recyclables and left the garbage. And on Wednesday, they came back for the garbage. Now, that's uncalled for, absolutely uncalled for. And you're right, my constituents are, in fact, I was afraid to get out of my house and go out on the street because these people are saying to me, what's going on here? These people are either coming on a Tuesday, they never show up on a Monday, and that's the problem we're having. Now, if you can correct that, and I understand that you bought trucks and you got an extra 2 trucks, but for the money that you people should be making on transportation, I can't see this happening.
well, just so you'll know, and it's not an excuse, it's just a fact that Monday is our busiest day every other Monday, and that's because of what we call Red Week. Monday is every other week. And this week we run 13 trucks, next week we run 14 trucks. I think we are trying to look at to see if we can move some stuff around to balance Monday better, so there's not so many customers on Monday. And as far as why it got picked up on Wednesday and not Tuesday, I have no idea. But we're supposed to, if for some reason, if it's not picked up on Monday, first thing Tuesday morning, they're supposed to be back out there to get it. So I'll have to check into that.
Well, either that or change the date that this area gets.
And it is, Monday
I mean,
Monday is the worst day for us.
It's a little bit ridiculous. In fact, last week, I ended up buying a $3 ticket because the garbage wasn't picked up on Tuesday, and I had more garbage, so I put a $3 ticket out there, bag, with the garbage. And I shouldn't have to do that after paying $72 a year. And you just got the increase.
Well, you're absolutely right.
All right, other questions?
Say, Croatan Crossing, Carolina Pines, Stately Pines, I've heard that it's gotten better since the last time you guys were here. So maybe it's needs a balance across the board, but I've had positive feedback on that you guys have been better and more on time in my district.
You got any questions down here?
No questions.
Well, if we are taking the solid waste, is the recyclables being covered? They're not going to put recyclables in with solid waste on it.
Oh, no, ma'am. You need to come out to our facility and see the recyclables.
Yeah, but if they're not, I'm wondering are they going to
Are
be?
you referring to the Bridgeton contract, Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
So Bridgeton has a separate arrangement with GFL for that service.
I
I
understand
inquired about that on Friday.
She's in the city.
I understand that. They've got a separate contract, but if with our contract, you know, some people just put their recyclables.
Well, you have a chart, for
Okay.
recyclables, telling you what you can put in and what you can't put in. That I have to say is done very well.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Okay, any further questions? All right, here none. Thank you, Norma. We appreciate y'all coming and addressing that. Okay, getting back to the interlocal agreement to allow the town of Bridgeton to join Craven County Solid Waste franchise agreement. Stephen, I mean, you feel good about it, you and staff, you don't see there's no concerns?
Yes, sir. At this time, we do not have any concerns with the trash pickup in the town of Bridgeton. It's important to note here that GFL has currently been servicing trash stickers in the town limits of Bridgeton's with no issues as far as I'm concerned. Small town limits there, they're able to service that with just one truck and been pretty smooth. So we're okay with that, and we're just dotting some I's and crossing some T's here.
Okay. Commissioner Martin, you okay with it?
Yeah, I'll go along with it, provided they do what they say they're gonna do.
Okay. You want to make the motion?
I'll make the motion.
Okay. We have a motion to approve and execute an interlocal agreement for the town of Bridgeton to join our solid waste franchise. I have a second. Commissioner Hunt. Any further discussion? Hear none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Thank you all, appreciate it. Okay, item 8, Commissioners, is appointments. We have before you pending, current, and upcoming. Are there any pending appointments that any commissioner has? All right, hearing none, we will now move to current fire tax commissioners. The first is Township 7, Mr. Ebby Howard. He is eligible for reappointment. Vice Chair Booker.
Yeah, I make that motion.
Okay, we have the nomination of Ebby Howard. Is there any additional nominations? Hearing none, we will set by acclamation. The next is Township 2, Tri-Community. Commissioners, you did have there on your table there, your desk, that the gentleman that had been recommended does not wish to be reappointed, and Commissioner Mark has desired that Jeanette Gaskin's name be placed in nomination. Correct? All right, so we have the nomination of Jeanette Gaskins to fill that Fire Tax Commissioner for Township 2. Are there additional nominations? Hear none, we will set by acclamation. Next is the Fireman's Relief Fund Board of Trustees. Both of these are in Township 3 in the district in which I live in. The first is Mr. Robert Stroud from Township 3 Dover Fire. I would nominate him. Are there additional nominations? Hear none, we will set by acclamation. Next would be Mr. Felix Kroon from Township 3 Fort Bommel. I would also nominate him. Are there additional nominations? All right, we will set by acclamation. Next is the Regional Aging Advisory Board. You do have an applicant of Mr. William Farmer. What's the desire of the board?
I recommend him.
Recommend.
Okay, we have nomination of Mr. Farmer. Is there additional nominations? Hear none, we set by acclamation. Next is the Vanceburg Craven County Library. You do have an applicant.
I would like to hold that.
All right, Commissioner Mark has asked to defer. Hearing any objection? All right, we will defer consideration. All right, Commissioners, do you have any current that we may have forgotten? All right, hear none. You have the upcoming appointments. Please take note of that. Hear nothing else under appointments. We will now go to the county attorney's report. Mr. Gregg. Good morning, sir.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, good morning. I have 2 items on my report this morning, but before we move along to that, if we could revisit item number 7. In addition to approving the agreement with the town of Bridgeton, we also have to amend franchise with GFL to include Bridgeton within the geographic scope. So if I could ask the board to consider taking that action as well.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. You heard the motion dictated by the county attorney. Any further discussion on the motion? Hear none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
My first item this morning involves county-owned property acquired through the tax foreclosure process. We own this property jointly with the city of New Bern, who has already given final approval. The parcel is on Lincoln Street within the city of New Bern. There's no specific postal enumeration assigned, but the parcel ID number is 8013-016. The original offer was $4,250. The property was put out for upset bids. There were none, so that is the final amount. The original past due taxes and the cost of foreclosure were $3,070.65, and the tax value of the property is $8,500. I recommend that the board consider giving final approval to this.
All right, what's the desire of the board?
So moved.
We have a motion, do I have a second? Have a motion and a second, that is to adopt the resolution for parcel number 8-013-016. Hearing any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
Thank you. And the second and last item deals with the new Craven County Nature Park, which is out very close to the Carolina Colors subdivision. As the board may remember, the Coastal Land Trust acquired this property and then in turn donated it to the county. So the county owns the property as we sit here today. Part of the funding for what we're going to do at the park is through the NC Division of Parks and Recreation. That grant requires a local match, but they allow the property that we own from the donation to serve as that local match. To do so, however, we've got to put deed restrictions on the property, which basically says use it for, outdoor recreational purposes. The proposed deed restrictions are in your agenda packet. They've been approved on our side and also approved on the part of the state. So I would ask that the board consider approving the execution, delivery, and recordation of the notice of grant requirements.
All right, what's the desire of the board?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second to approve this execution of this deed restriction related to the grant agreement for the new Craven County Nature Park. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
Thank you. That concludes my report.
Okay, thank you, sir. Next would be the county manager's report. Mr. Vite.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. I just had a couple updates for you. This afternoon, we intended initially to go visit the animal shelter and the tech bridge. Unfortunately, with the weather, I don't think it'd be an opportune day to do that. If we could just delay that maybe until October when the weather's a little better and we can really get out there. If you do have time, of course, the animal shelter is going to be one of those that's going to go 100% as soon as it's done. But if you get out there in the next couple of days, you just want to stop by, please do. I think it's a great project. Gene and his team's really got that facility in top-notch shape, and there's a lot of things that we've done that give them an edge out there that they need. So really proud of that project. Over the last couple of weeks, I've attended several events. Just want to point out, did attend the Recovery Alliance Initiative Annual Summit in Raleigh 2 weeks ago. Great meeting. If you remember, REI is our partner in planning and collaborating related to the opioid settlement funds. We were certainly the highlight of the conference, and this was a statewide conference, some of the programs that were run here. And I can't say it enough, it is so cool that Kelly Walker won an award related to this program that generated out of the REI Collaborative, and they recognized her and her team for her hard work. And I just want to say it again, how proud I am of her for what she's done to get there. And then last week on Wednesday, the C1A celebrated its 10-year anniversary. Mr. Wood was here earlier this morning. I wish he would have stayed. Jeff did a fabulous job of planning out that event. It was really well done, but the star of the show was Abigail Wilson back here in the back. Abigail worked so hard to make that night and that day a great event. We had our original director, Timothy Downs, came back and talked about the origins of the C1A, and I had to get way deep in my memory bank to remember some of that, but it wasn't easy. And sometimes things that are measurable aren't easy. And I think we've worked together, we've invested, we spent a lot of hard work there getting it done. And I don't want to quote Jeff's numbers, but I believe it's something like 175 million and 1,400 jobs over the last 10 years. And that really makes a mark. And we've had some great partners along the way, and I feel like I need to recognize them, one being the city of New Bern, the other being the city of Havelock, and most importantly, the private sector who makes this thing work because they're able to go out and raise money to meet the mission. Chairman Owen Andrews has been the chair for 10 years, and Owen's done a fantastic job. Being in the private sector, I know it's hard for him to carve out time for us, but he always does, and he's really been a champion for Craven County, and I appreciate that. With that said, that's my update, unless you have questions for me.
Any questions, County Manager? All right,
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next item would be Commissioner's Report. Vice Chair Booker, we'll start with you.
I don't have anything to do.
Okay. Commissioner.
Well, let me just say, I attended that same event Jack just mentioned, and there was just a positive, I'll use the word vibe, in the room at night, and there were a lot of people out there during the day for the golf outing. It was that organization is rocking and rolling, and what it's done for this county is hard to measure. but there were a lot of positive things going on there, and Jeff is leading the way, and Abigail is no small part of that.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Commissioner Mitchell.
Everything that Commissioner Booker and the county manager just said.
All right. Thank you. Commissioner Howard.
No, just a short commentary. I just finished the Hunt Fellowship experience where I got to meet with and kind of do 3 different fellowships. During my time as a Hunt Fellow for local North Carolina officials, I had the privilege of working alongside a diverse bipartisan group of local leaders. One of the big goals of this was 50% Democrats, 50% Republicans, commissioners from across the state, Union County, Yadkin County, and mayors from different cities. Elon's mayor was there, Kinston down the road here. And the point was bipartisan solutions to local problems. So I'm not famous for being bipartisan, being a member of the Craven County Republican Executive Board, but I did learn the value of working with people and having the conversations across the aisle. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I wanted to recognize that and to say thank you to the people that provided that opportunity.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Smith. Catching you off guard, I'm sorry.
That's all right. I do have something that I would like to share. On September 7th, I received one of the greatest honors of my life. It's an experience of a lifetime. I had, in late August, I had a young man that I taught. His wife called me and said that he and a few of his classmates were approaching 65, and they were having a dinner party and would like for me to attend if I could. And so I did. And when I arrived there, I did not realize that I was being honored at that dinner party. These 6 young men had contacted, I taught at Pleasant Hill, a black school at that time, a school that I attended for 8 years and came back and started my career there. And I taught there for 3 years. Well, from that 3 years, I had about 100, 150 students and their families, their husbands or wives, there to honor me. And they gave me a dozen roses and money card and all kind of honors and sharing their experiences from my classroom and from my years at Pleasant Hill, that short while. And this card is so precious to me because it says, "You make a difference." And they said to me that they followed my career, even when I left Pleasant Hill and worked in the public, and how impressed and how much they loved me. It was an experience that is just unbelievable, and it's an experience of a lifetime. I'd like to share that with you.
That's great. We thank you for your service.
Mm-hmm.
Commissioner Hunt.
I have nothing.
Okay, Commissioner Moore.
Yeah, I just want to go over something. I think Jack mentioned this at the last meeting, and I did about the Highway 70 Commission meeting that we went to. I think one of the big points that they tried to push was that the state is out of money, and it's going to take much more time to finish the project. Not James City, but Havelock. Havelock was supposed to be completed April of this year. Now they want an extension to 2026, which that's a big extension. I don't know if they got it, but it was being considered. Another thing that was being considered was how do we come up with money for the roads that we are working on. And they have a list of things that they could raise taxes on to bring in money. And then somebody suggested they get a consultant for $75,000. Now, I don't know how many more suggestions that on that piece of paper where there was about 11 suggestions in raising money, but a consultant is going to come up with another one to get money. And I guess the simplest part would be to stop the construction in Raleigh and start it down here. But I just wanted to mention it. It just struck me funny to go out and get a consultant for $75,000 when you've got a list of about 11 things that you could do to increase the money for the Highway 70. And we all know Highway 70 at this point, especially down here, is very important. And I don't have to go on about that. The other is I plan on having a meeting for the Bridgeton and Fairfield Harbor people on October 16th. And I'm working with Jack to get 3 directors out there. And that would be on October 16th. And I just want to mention it so we can get started on it faster. And that's it, sir.
All right, Vice Chair Bucher.
Yeah, just to add on what Tom said for everybody's information, the money that we raise as a state to take care of our roads is primarily provided by gasoline tax. Right. Guess what vehicles don't buy gasoline? And the more electric vehicles that go on the road, the percentage of vehicles that are buying gas declines. So our legislature needs to do something about that. I think they do pay us a small amount of extra tax when they renew their tags on their vehicle, but nowhere near enough. So just to add to our woes, our electric vehicles.
Thank you, sir. Commissioners, just 2 or 3 things to share with you this morning. Don't usually do it, but this is Firemen's celebration of our Firemen's Day in rural Craven County. We've got several events coming up in the next few weeks, and they've asked me to make sure I extend an invitation to you. The September the 28th, we have the Coast City Firemen's Day. We also will have a parade that day. They have invited each of you to come and participate in that parade if you would. Lineup begins at 9 o'clock, parade's at 10, and then after that they will begin selling barbecue. October the 5th, Dover will have their Fireman's Day. They will not have a parade, but they will begin serving barbecue and barbecue chicken plates at 11 a.m. And these rural fire departments do that to help assist with the finances that they incur. So please take note of that. Talking about fire departments, EMS, I've had the opportunity this past week to participate in 2 events with Craven County Firemen's Association. They had their September 11th event last Wednesday night, September 11th, at Reams Fire Department. About 125 people in attendance, a great event, very solemn evening. I commend the Firemen's Association for doing that. Then yesterday at Little Swift Creek, they had a water ball competition for our fire departments, and also they invited some adjoining counties to come. And we have not had one of those in Craven County in many years. Our Whitford was a part of a team at Little Swift Creek, and I think they came in 2nd place. But they did a great job, and it was a lot of families came, and so we owe a huge debt to our volunteers in this county. Last thing I have to say, once again, always, I fail sometimes to do it. Major McFadden, we thank you for being here and for your service and for your protection and helping us out. All right, Commissioners, are there any other comments you have this morning?
I just want to recognize one thing. Yes. National Hispanic Heritage Month did start yesterday and runs through October 15th.
Okay.
Just to celebrate one of the veterans at my school, our school resource officer, a veteran Marine, combat veteran who Friday served us chicken quesadillas as part of Hispanic Heritage Month. So starts September 15th, goes to October 15th.
Okay. Vice Chair Bucher?
Yeah, I said I didn't have anything to mention, but I do have one thing that everybody needs to hear, and that is that the Health Department last week held an event called a tabletop exercise, and I was invited to participate in that. There were probably 20 of us around a big table, and it was a simulated crisis of what would happen and how do we handle that crisis if it happens. And you mentioning Ira, he was there representing our county, and he did a splendid job of discussing and informing that group of people how we as a county are prepared if this kind of a cyber attack were to hit our county. There was a man who's the head of security for Cherry Point was there. There was a nurse from Cherry Point. I could go on all the people that were there, again, about 20 of us. 3.5 hours, and nobody moved, other than a couple of people got up to go to the bathroom. But otherwise, 3.5 hours, and everybody was really tuned in. The health department probably had 4 or 5 people there. They're the ones that put the event on. And it was really comforting. I told my wife when I got home, we have a lot of people in our area who have done a lot of planning and who have a plan for what happens if we have an attack, a cyber attack of some type. And everything from resources to what do we do with the people. I mean, it was all encompassing. It was led by somebody in Raleigh who kept putting a scenario on the board. And when it was an extension, started with a scenario and then they kept extending it. But Ira, specifically Jack, I wanted to mention, did a really good job. I mean, he didn't hesitate. He had his facts and they were here. So hats off to him.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Ask Danny a question. Is that part of the NIMS training? I mean, they incorporated cybersecurity as part of National Incident Management System training now?
Commissioner Howard, I don't know that specifically. I would imagine they have to. I mean, that's where so much of this is coming out of now. Okay. And I don't know the answer. I can get it for you.
I don't know the answer either. Somebody at the state was doing this scenario. They would give a presentation, and then we had 30 minutes to respond to it, the people in the room. So I didn't do any responding. I just listened. I don't know. I don't know why I was there. But.
All right. Okay, thank you. Item 12 today, Commissioners, is a closed session. The board is requested to go into closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-3-1811A3 for attorney-client privilege. Also, we want to add personnel item. What is that general statute, please?
Subsection A6, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, subsection A6, all right. Commissioners, before we entertain that motion to go in closed session, Jack, we're going to go into the conference room.
Yes, sir.
We will be going into conference room. I want to encourage all commissioners to, per our bylaws, if we could today, I'm going to ask you if you would leave all devices that you have here on this table. They will be protected by staff who will be in this room, that we not carry any devices with us into this meeting. We will take a 10-minute recess also. So do I have a motion that we go in closed session?
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. We will recess for 10 minutes.